This conversation is sponsored by MedLabs.
This is what I know. We're all connected to one another, the earth and all her inhabitants. We thrive on these connections, real ones that touch our soul, fill our heart, and invigorate our mind. I have been so fortunate to experience this all my life, meeting extraordinary, ordinary folks who inspire and provoke. My name is Khadija Muhaisen. Welcome to Adventures of the Soul Conversations. My hope is that they will fill your cup as they have filled mine.
Companies fall into the trap of losing humanity in the workplace.
Human consciousness.
Absolutely. So the model on this integral path is first the self, and then the organization, then the community, and then the society as a whole. And so a lot of people were forced to sort of look inwards when maybe they had never done so before, and assess whether this is really something they believe in, they have a passion for, they love, and are they in the right place? What we really hoped for on this journey is to return a sense of, as I said, fulfillment and wholeness to each individual in the company. Nobody wanted to quit. There was definitely a sense of, oh,
what are they doing?
These people have gone to La La Land. I mean, what's all this fluffy talk about inequality and emotions, etc. We broke up our management into a south, east, northwest. So their approach to everything is global in abstract, let's say, imagination. We were Northwest, right? Yeah. Science and business.
Yeah.
And a care circle is basically an informal meeting where there are no hierarchies. They're held, hopefully, we encourage our labs and even our staff and management to do this once a week. And there's one inspirational topic that's discussed. When you just get beyond people's initial discomfort, I want to call it, not a negative discomfort, just it's because it's unusual to be asked.
It's unheard of.
Unheard of. When you get past that, you find that people have,
they're just waiting for somebody
to emotions or stories to share or. We also asked everybody to go back to their lab, because we have 50 labs or so, and within each team to discuss with one another their own personal core values, which is not something anybody, people share easily.
Well, definitely not with superiors,
definitely
for sure, if there's a hierarchy
exactly.
in the operation, yeah.
But we tried, and we said do two things. Have an exercise of identifying your core values, and then come up with your suggestion for the company's mission, vision, values. And we changed even the terminology for those. So vision became inspiration. Mm-hmm. Our mission is now our path. And our values are our core beliefs, or core values, core beliefs.
Why did you change the terminology?
Because we felt that even those are so Northwest and so adopted from typical corporate structures,
and they didn't really resonate because they weren't associated.
Yeah. We wanted everyone to feel that they were inspired, or that this company was a source of inspiration, and they were part of that inspiration. So we asked each member of MedLabs to write their idea of what their inspiration, the path, and the core values were for themselves and for the company. And then we narrowed these down, and so it came from within as opposed to top down. And from that, we get these inspirational issues that we discuss in care circles. And so these care circles happen all the time.
So they're based on the core values that have come out. Okay.
And so these care circles are happening across the country and across the labs. And then you invite, from your community internally, Zeina to attend a care circle at Lab X, and lab director from Lab Y to visit the care circle. And so it became very cross-functional, and people were really sharing. And then we even started putting internally on the net all the beautiful inspirational ideas that came out of care circles for everyone to share. And this brings me to the R. So the C for community in the south, the A for awakening conscious in the east, and then the R is research-based innovation for knowledge sharing. So we feel as a science company, we have a responsibility to share knowledge. I think 400 people with all their years of experience. That's maybe thousands of years of experience. And
plus all this new, new work that they're doing.
Exactly, and technology. But we have a responsibility to share it, not to each keep it to themselves, to share it with one another, to inspire one another, to educate one another. Nobody knows everything. And to share it with the external world. So whether it's a new test, or internally through a care circle, a new concept, a theory. One time, one of my team members said, she was going to lead the discussion, and she brought us design thinking. And we started applying design thinking to medicine, to science, to patients, to happiness, to fulfillment. It's very interesting. And the way it's structured is everybody has to speak. Everybody gives their 2 cents. Some people don't like to share very much. And some people who wouldn't speak at all, after 3-4 times, become very vocal. So it slowly starts coming out. So then you have the R in the north, and we do a lot of knowledge sharing internally and externally through conferences, through media, through...
You recently took part in a roundtable that involved educational institutions.
Absolutely.
Called Tanweer, and you were sharing your experience.
Exactly. We call it co-creation. So Tanweer is a movement that's coming out of the Ahliya School for Girls and Bishops.
Awakening. Which is enlightenment?
Yeah, maybe they're actually thinking a kind of Arab enlightenment. Okay. So going back to the amazing, vast information we have from wise, Arab philosophers and scientists and medics who really led the way in the world. Now that's sort of been forgotten, as with many things.
We have lost our way.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what's happened.
Yeah, that's very community and Eastern, right? And community and awakening. And all of that, which a lot of it came from the Arab world, has been shelved, right? So all the schools, all our corporations are just, as we said, taking the Western model and applying. And we're forgetting what amazing information we have in our roots and in our history. So that's kind of bringing that back. And so we've been going back and forth with ideas in that realm. And the reason for that is because our next evolutionary leap is to create an academy, which we'll come to. The human capital is the most important, not the bottom line. That doesn't mean not being profitable isn't important. At the end of the day, we need to make money in order...
But who says that you have to sacrifice one for the other?
Exactly. So this was the whole flip of the approach, that the human factor is the most important. And then going back to the integral, the C doesn't work without the A, without the R, without the E, without the big I in the middle of the integral self. And then all of these, if the people running these departments aren't becoming integral themselves, finding their own south, east, north, west, and then bringing it to the departments, and then collectively the organization, it doesn't work.
So can you give me some, now going back to the individual, I'm sure you've changed the lives of many of your team members, and just by merely asking these questions and provoking thought. But is there any way or any data you have, going back to the the Europe model, the West model, in terms of, do you have any data on positive measures on positive change?
Certainly, the engagement has increased with our staff across the board. Staff retention certainly has been tangible through HR statistics.
What about personal lives?
Personal lives, I think from the feedback we get, I can't tell you that it's been measured per se, people seem happier, more able to figure out some work-life balance, or at least understanding that the energy that they bring to the workplace and the energy they bring at home don't have to be two separate things.
They're one and the same.
They're one and the same. So I think there's more fulfillment in that aspect.
In terms of their own health and healthy choices and healthful life, how is that?
That's a great question. We actually worked as well internally on being happy increases your immunity, and this is something that we've launched a campaign on our online platform. I'm happy, I'm optimistic, I'm healthy, I'm with MedLabs, regardless of whether you're a patient or you're a staff. And so we've tried to delve into the mind-body connection with healing, right?
Yeah.
So if you're unhappy, if you're unsatisfied, if you're unfulfilled, if you have absolutely no awakened self and you're just going through the motions, and you do these 8 hours and go home, your lack of happiness will eventually manifest through bad physical health.
Yes.
Right? And your immunity will drop.
Yes.
So because we've also had those discussions in care circles as well, there's more awareness of, I want to be happy, I want to be fulfilled. And the two things that happened with that is that people in the workplace had a more positive attitude.
How many have quit smoking?
I don't know, but that's a great question. We
Yeah.
should
Maybe
send
you
out a
should-
survey.
yeah.
Exactly.
I'm assuming, of course, all your like everything is non-smoking.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I wish everybody was a non-smoker, but no, there
No,
are
but I mean that's
smokers.
something that's easy to measure.
Yeah.
If they're honest.
Yeah. That's a great question. We
Yeah.
didn't think about that. We actually started sending out surveys called MedLabs Pulse surveys, so like checking the pulse of the staff, where it's an anonymous feedback system where they can just say whatever they want and share their feelings and share their journey, and that's been really, really positive. We also created a book. We wrote a book called Pulse, actually, in English and Arabic, that sort of takes the reader on MedLab's journey. So essentially this conversation in a book for new staff and for other people who want to see how...
What other people? Are you talking about the general public?
The general
or-
public. We've had several people come and say, what's happened at MedLabs? There's this feeling.
But you know, Zeina, for me personally, just having this, I'm like, I never knew that this was the company value or the direction the company was going in until I spoke to you.
Yeah.
And you have really, like, when I need to do blood work now, I will come to you. And I'm assuming this applies to the general public. What are you doing to, I'm sure conversations like this help, but what are you doing to really tell people about this entire integral approach that you have? The public.
So for the most part, I have to say it's been an internal journey.
Yes.
Because
you really invested in it.
Yeah, and it takes time to get everybody on board, to get the terminology.
Yes.
People say, what the heck is
The language.
The language.
Yes.
Integral, awakening, consciousness. And then, of course, we Arabized all of this, right? So, صحوة وعي.
And even inspiration, for
exactly. Ilham, وتكاملية, and all so these are heavy words.
So how much time?
It's been, I would say, about 4 to 5 years we've been working on this.
Okay.
And now I think pretty much everybody is on board.
So you have the same lingo now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we have new people join the company...
450 people?
People across 3 countries. And when we have people join the company now, they go through a 1 to 2 week orientation, which didn't used to happen before. Mm-hmm. And so when I give my team and I give our part on marketing, whereas before it would have been like, okay, you need to tell them about our loyalty program and you need to tell them about, and smile to the customer.
Sign, thank you
now
very much.
it's, okay, some of those, but then, so we're here to build communities and we're here to nurture a healthy society. And so they sort of look at each other like, is this marketing? And it's the same with every other aspect of the company. So they go to the lab, hopefully finding their peers in the same mentality. And so the whole way they approach work, they approach their day-to-day life in the work environment, we refer to each other as family members in the whole company. And the way they treat patients is completely different because it's coming from a fulfilled self as opposed to just a job that's being done.
And even your patients that come to you, energetically speaking, forget about anything else, will feel the difference. Now my question to you, when I walk in, will I feel like I'm in Google, like Google offices? Would you have nap rooms and...
We don't have all of that.
What's your philosophy about sleep?
Our philosophy about sleep is that you need to get lots of sleep, or you need to get good quality sleep, definitely.
Yeah. So you don't have nap rooms?
No, we don't have nap rooms.
What about email after hours? Do you expect your staff to answer? Okay.
No, we don't. Awesome. We expect our staff to do what they have to do. We have, for example, 6-day weeks, right? So in management, we became 5-day weeks. We work a little bit extra during the week, but for the labs, they have to be open on a Saturday. That's actually our busiest day. It's when everybody is free to come, right?
Yeah.
But what we did is we've given 3 hours per staff during the week that are his free time. So
and they can use they can go whenever they.
I mean, they obviously have to coordinate internally so that everybody gets the lab is covered. But there's this free time for reflection and to do their own thing in their family.
And can I ask you about your approach with working mothers and daycare support and all that?
So daycare support doesn't really apply to us because, if we were all in one gigantic building, by the way,
it makes sense.
70 to 75% of our staff are female. We are one of the most female-centric entities in the country. And that's wonderful. But it comes with its challenges because, for some reason, births seem to happen together. So last July we had 11 women giving birth.
Yeah.